and today I'm going to take a look at an incredibly popular lens, the Canon 50mm f1.4. So let's first take a look at the build quality of this 50mm f1.4. So the first thing you'll notice about this lens is that the size feels just about right, especially paired up with a camera like the Canon 70D. Now if you're coming from a lens like the old Nifty 50, you'll definitely notice a big step up in build quality. Firstly, we've got a lot less plastic on this lens and a lot more metal, starting with this nice metallic mount at the back here. Moving forward, we've got a relatively nice focus ring, but it's definitely not the smoothest focus ring I've ever used, and it's got quite a short focus throw. So for video work, it's definitely not going to be the best. One nice touch though is that we do have this focus distance window on the front here, which is always nice to see. But overall, I think the build quality is actually quite good, and only coming in at 290 grams, this lens is definitely light enough to throw in your bag for a couple of days worth of photography. So 50mm is a normal field of view on a full frame body like the 5D or the 6D, and it will work for most environments. But on a crop sensitive body like this Canon 70D, 50mm is going to equate to around about 80mm, which is actually really good for portraits. So the look that you're going to be getting is going to come down to the camera body that you're going to be using. So a lot of people get this lens after using this lens here, the 50mm f1.8. And there's good reason to do this, as the bokeh's actually improved quite a lot. Whereas on the old Nifty 50, it had 5 aperture blades, this 51.4 has 8 aperture blades, and it produces some really lovely background blur. So if you're looking for a lens to step up your bokeh, definitely check out the 51.4. With a minimum focus distance of around 45 centimeters, the 51.4 isn't particularly going to get you as close to your little tiny subjects as you probably like. Because of its relatively long focal length, you can actually get some relatively nice shots. Just a quick tip though, when you're shooting with this 50 f1.4 for macro shots, I definitely recommend shooting at around f5.6 or higher for those ultra close-ups. Now, over my time, I've actually never been particularly impressed with the autofocus speed of this 50mm f1.4. Sure, it is actually a huge step up from the old Nifty 50, but compared to the new STM version, which came out probably around about 8 months ago, it feels like the ultrasonic motor is a little dated and a little bit slow. That's not to say it's a bad performer though, but it definitely could do with an update. Maybe Canon could update this with an STM motor. I think that's something that I would like to see, and I'm sure a lot of other people would like to see as well. On my Canon 70D, the autofocus works relatively well, but it's actually really quite noisy. Now, not to the level of the 51.8 or the old Nifty 50, but it is still quite loud. And if you're going to be using an on-camera mic, it might not be the best solution. So if you're looking for a lens to pair up with something like the Canon 70D, which has got this fantastic dual pixel autofocus system, I'd probably be looking at a lens with an STM version. But my advice would be to look around for a sale on this lens, or even pick one up secondhand, or you could even pick up a 50mm f1.8 STM lens instead. So overall, the 51.4 can take some really great shots, and there have been people using this lens for many years and having some really great results. For me, I'd probably still get the 50mm f1.8 STM because it's a newer lens and it does have that STM focusing system with it. So there you go guys, that was my review of the Canon 50mm f1.4. If you did like this video, I'd love it if you leave a thumbs up, and make sure to check out my top 5 list of the best prime lenses for under $150. I'll put a link in the description box below. Have a great day guys, see ya.